Hello, I am Randy Kleiner, the founder and CEO of SeriesFest, and welcome to the Q&A for Mavericks, which is featured in the independent pilot competition for SeriesFest Season 6. And I'm very excited to welcome two SeriesFest alum who previously had their documentary series Men with us a few years ago. So please give a warm welcome to Michael Michelle, director and executive producer, and Chris Jenkins, writer and executive producer. Thank you both for being here.
Glad to be here.
Thank you. Well, I want to jump right in.
Thank you for having us. Yeah.
Absolutely. So the story of Christy Rise, I mean, what an incredible story. I mean, at 32 years old, you know, she's leading an all-male crew flying one of the most decorated planes in the Air Force, and then has this incredibly impactful and inspirational story. And Michael, I think I watched in one of your interviews, you used the term shero, which I absolutely love. But I wanted to start with, you know, how did you find Christy?
Yeah. So we
can we go, Michael? Good.
We had been looking for women. We had been looking for women for quite some time and trying to find, you know, the perfect story. And then we first started with let's look at women in the service. And then, of course, Chris started doing what he does so well, which is, you know, making some phone calls. And we met a lot of people, right, Chris?
Yeah.
I mean, we first started with wanting to find a woman who worked in one of the U.S. forces. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. And she was open to sharing her story, and that was all pretty easy. I mean, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, we really wanted to find someone.
You know, I mean, it was one of those.
Go ahead, Michael.
Oh, go ahead, Chris.
No, I'm just going to say that.
No, really, go ahead.
Okay. We really wanted to find someone who, even within the military, had a job or a profession, and had a mission that was even outside of what a lot of people think about being in the military. And so she's a pilot, but she's not a fighter pilot. She's a rescue pilot. And this is a woman who, you know, we think about heroes sometimes as people in the military who go and blow up things and, you know, drop bombs and that sort of thing. And actually, Christy is just the opposite. She's there to get people out of harm's way and to save people and to save lives in a really remarkable way, which is why there's this extra level of hero-ness that she really illustrates.
I really love the title Mavericks for the series, and I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. Well, you know, as you know, you called us an alum because we had been, you know, telling these stories before with men, and we always wanted to speak about women and tell women's stories. And we thought, well, what is the definition of a maverick? And let's find women who truly fit the very definition of a maverick. And you know, it was really important as well that the women were not, you know, if you hear maverick, you know, we didn't want to lose. I kept saying with Christy, you know, she does all of these real badass things, but she's very much a woman. So I kind of wanted to take this idea of maverick and turn it on its head. Maverick can mean a lot of different things. Hey, there's our other maverick, our other producer, Rachel Ramus.
Welcome, Rachel. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, thank you. Sorry, a lot going on in Los Angeles today.
Really understood.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I think the title of the series is it just brings you right into understanding, you know, kind of what you're looking at. And I think there's really beautiful way, you know, all the stories that you're telling with these women. And Michael, this was your directorial debut. And I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about that and the process of your visual storytelling and language that you used.
Yeah, so I'm laughing because that wasn't the original plan, right? So what was very important is that we find a female story. We wanted a real maverick, and I said that's not enough. You know, I've been in this space of women my entire career behind the camera or in front of the camera, and I said, well, now if I'm going to be an executive producer, I actually have a little bit of say in who else can be around. And so I wanted women, as many women as we could possibly get. And you asked me about my directorial debut. When we went out and I was making calls to people, I was talking to Chris, and I said, we need to not only tell the story of women, but we need women behind the camera. We need a woman to direct it. We need a woman to shoot it. We need women to produce it. We need women to do the sound. We need women to do the editing. And that's a tall order sometimes when you say this to other people in our industry. If they hire one woman or two women, woohoo, there's some kind of celebration. I'm like, why does that have to be such a difficult thing to accomplish? We're finding women. And so as we were having this conversation, Chris says, well, why don't you direct it? I was like, me? No, we need to find a woman to direct it. I don't need to direct it. I'm quite happy being an executive producer. And he was like, no, you should direct it. And then when I had called Eric LaSalle said the same thing. He's like, why don't you direct it? And I was like, okay, all right, okay, that's part of it. I'll direct it. Okay, fine. Let me find some other women. So then I went to Rachel Ramis. Chris and I went to Rachel Ramis, and Rachel had directed me in Ava DuVernay's Queen Sugar. And so I thought, okay, I'm not stupid. I've been in front of a camera for many, many years, but I've never directed. So I'm going to make sure that I've got some great, wonderful women behind me who are also great directors. So Rachel Ramis had directed me in Queen Sugar, and Christina Varos, who is a phenomenal DP and phenomenal eye behind the camera, had also directed me in Queen Sugar. So it was this Ava DuVernay had done it again. She had brought all these women together, and I called up Rachel. I was like, Rachel, I'm going to have my directorial debut. You want to come on as a producer, and you're a great director. This is great. Christina Varos, you want to come on and shoot it? And by the way, I know you also directed me. So, although, listen, I've always been a big fan of the Maisel brothers. That's my kind of directing. So that's kind of my inspiration, that fly on the wall kind of cinema verite type of thing that they had done. And I needed to have and wanted to have other women with me who would understand that if I didn't have the language, and if I was talking to my creative partner, which is Chris, I kind of think of Chris as my other arm, and I'm his other arm. So we've been working together so closely. But I said, if we're going to bring in women, I need to work with women who can help me understand how to do what it is that I want to do. So I would say to Rachel and Chris, and I was like, I want it to look like this. I don't know what the word is, but I want it to look like this. You know what I mean? I am a fan of documentary filmmaking, so I know what I like. I just didn't have the language.
Oh, that's amazing, Chris. Congratulations! What a great call to have Michael directed. I mean, I thought it was just visually stunning and not an easy feat when you're looking at airplane shots and all the different parts and pieces that you had to get together, and it really, really showed and came through. And it's when
it was an easy choice.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're telling such an impactful story, and then the language of it becomes so important, and it was so beautiful. The whole thing is just beautiful. From inside, from the heart of Christie, all the way through the outside production, and I think that really comes through. And Rachel, so what kind of was there some challenges on set that you could talk to us about?
I mean, whenever you are making any production, there are challenges. It's anything that can happen will happen. But Chris and Michael are such an incredible team. And Michael truly knows what she wants. She says, okay, I want it to look like this. I want it to feel like this. This is the heart of the story. Now, I am a television director, but also I'm a professor. So I was right in my element. Okay, Michael, this is what it is. This is the word for it. Like, tell me what you want to see. Tell me what you want to feel. And in terms of challenges, we were filming on a military base. So we have really big ideas. There are certain things Michael wanted to accomplish. And then she would say it, we'd figure out the visual style, how to shoot it, how, to best make it happen. But then, Chris has to be on the phone with the Pentagon or, the military folks to actually get us permission. So some of the spaces and places that we filmed, I don't think many civilian cameras had really been. They gave us unprecedented access. They were very, very generous. there was a time where we were filming in a space, and, in the military, there's a lot of rules. And I could see some young men who recognized Michael, and they're starting to, look, and I nodded and confirmed, yes, that is Michael Michelle. And, I leaned over and said, Michael, I think, these young men behind you have just recognized you. And so she went and she spoke with them, and of course, they wanted pictures and all these things, but they're not allowed. So, but it was a lovely moment, but also something that, happens or can happen. So it's, every production brings a set of opportunities and then lots of challenges. But I will say this project, they're an incredible team. They really welcomed all of us in, and we worked together really well. It was a lot of planning, a lot of communication, and then a lot of debriefing at the end of the day. Okay, what went well? What did we get? What do we need? How do we tie these threads of the story together? Do we have enough shots of this, that, and the other? So, but really, exciting. It was my first time on a flight line. So that's also a thing, is safety.
Okay.
We are there with airplanes the size of buildings. And it's like, don't cross this line. If you cross this line, like, the military police will come and get you. They actually could shoot you.
Oh my
They'll shoot you. So
Yeah.
that was an unexpected challenge that I've never experienced on set, where, and when you're looking through a camera, which, there were members of our team who just are seeing the world like this, and you want to go closer, right? You want to get that shot. So we had arms on them so that no one could cross the line and get shot while we were shooting. So that was an interesting challenge.
Very interesting, and good to hear everyone.
That's a challenge, all right.
Chris, I want to go over to you. So I know it's a 6-part miniseries. Can you talk to us a little bit about some of the other stories that you are planning to shoot, or maybe already have shot?
So we really are looking at a range of women that we'd love to be able to take a look at under the same umbrella of being Mavericks. And right now what we're looking at is we're really interested in sports. So there's some female coaches in the NBA, assistant female coaches in the NBA that we really like to take a look at, who are on their way, we think, to being the first head coaches in any professional sport. And that's obviously a position a woman would have to have, a lot of tough, personality, and have to be able to really, have an out-of-the-box personality. So we're looking at some of those folks in sports, and we're looking at a couple of female Olympic skiers who are ex-gamers. Women are really outside the box there. And so we've got some ideas and folks we've talked to, really trying to expand the notions to be a woman in 20.
I love that. Well, we're at our final question. So Michael, I'm going to hit the last one over to you here, which is, what are your hopes and dreams for the series, and will you continue to direct?
What are my hopes and dreams for the series? I'll take that one first. I really want to be a part of helping to assist the narrative of women in this country and women throughout the world. I've made my living in television. I've done some films here or there, but television is very powerful. Our medium is extremely powerful. And so if I can be behind the camera as a producer, I would possibly like to direct some in the future. The documentaries we're doing, I don't have an interest in directing anytime soon. I'd like to find some other women to direct. But I want to be a part of helping change the narrative of women. It's still, we've had some phenomenal women in television and film over the last couple of years, but it's still an anomaly to some degree. And it's still rare. I mean, Ava DuVernay happens to be doing an exceptional job of it, but it's still rare to also go on a set and see a lot of women behind the camera. Like, that's really important to me. I mean, we had female stories, but we had female producer, female DP, female editor, female audio. We had as many women as we could find to fill every position. And I figure, gosh, if little o' us can do it, then hopefully more people can do it, and we can continue to do it, and in terms of my directing, perhaps again, I'm a big fan of the Mazo brothers, and, sometimes, if another opportunity presents, then perhaps, but I really enjoy being an executive producer. I mean, like, that's my jam. Like, that's what I really enjoy doing, you know.
Well, that's a perfect note to end on, a very important message. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you for giving women's stories both in front and behind the camera
Thank
to
you.
all of you. Thank you. Thanks for being
Great.
with us. I look
Yeah.
forward to hanging
Yep.
out more
Thanks
during
a lot.
SeriesFest.
Thanks, Randy.
Fun stuff planned. So we'll see you back on June 18th. Thank you so
See you
much.
soon.
Have a good rest of your day.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.